Even as Microsoft, Valve, and even Nintendo have all been making strides towards the cross-platform play future, Sony has obstinately refused to play ball, not allowing for cross-platform play in games between its platforms and other consoles, though Sony seems to be fine with PC and PS4 cross-platform play at the very least. However, earlier this week, momentarily, cross-platform play between Xbox One and PS4 was enabled for a few hours in Epic Games' Fortnite, leading many to speculate that Sony may have finally capitulated to the whims and demands of its vocal fanbase on this issue. As it turns out, that was not the case. Instead, the lapse can be attributed to something as mundane as a configuration error, according to Epic Games themselves. "We had a configuration issue, and it has now been corrected," they said to DualShockers in a statement regarding the incident. So, that's that. Unfortunately, true cross-platform play remains a pipe dream, for now. Hopefully, Sony will come around to this sooner rather than later. Wedbush analyst Michael Pachter is back at it again. He recently appeared on the 1099 podcast and discussed what could possibly happen with Sony. The topic of discussion was the PlayStation 4, the PS4 Pro, and the not quite revealed but inevitably coming PlayStation 5. Pachter noted that there will be a time when the PS4 Pro becomes the default PS4 model. He didn't specify when this would happen exactly though. If I had to bet, I'd say 2020. Sony is making so much money on PS4 that I think that they'll continue to make as long as they can milk it. I think that the natural extension of that is that the PS4 Pro just becomes the default PS4 and they just knock that price down to $250 if they can. There's been quite a bit of contention since the PS4 Pro was announced, since it played host to a number of different 4K options, with only a few games really offering native 4K. This is especially conspicuous when you look at the upcoming Xbox One X, which boasts more power and seems to be capable of delivering on its 4K promises. Pachter does believe that the PS5 could be Sony's true 4K device when it eventually arrives. PS5 is probably going to be their real 4K device. It feels to me like they're not going to launch the PS5 until sales momentum for the PS4 slows down, and it just hasn't yet. Certainly get through 2017 and 2018, I just don't see it slowing down in 2018, which would prompt them to release something in 2019. If it slows in 2019, then they might launch it in 2020. You could very safely trade in your Xbox One and buy an Xbox One X and start saving $10 a month. You'll have some time before you need to trade it in for a PS5. While we wait for the PS4 Pro to become standard and the PS5 to release, the Xbox One X will arrive on November 7th worldwide for $499. Rockstar Games has tweeted about something regarding Red Dead Redemption 2, taking place on September 28th, 11 AM ET. Though it didn't explicitly state what the announcement would be or whether it's actually related to the open world game, the overall color tone is enough to tip us off. We haven't heard or seen a whole lot of the game since it was officially delayed to spring 2018. How good are the odds that this is a brand new gameplay trailer showcasing some of the things players will be able to do? Of course, we don't expect a full reveal until maybe a few months before the game officially releases, but never say never. Red Dead Redemption 2 was announced earlier this year with little snippets of footage hinting at an online multiplayer mode. Rockstar noted that it would be coming to PS4 and Xbox One, but has stayed fairly mum on a potential PC version. CD Projekt Red had previously indicated that they might return to the Witcher series, even though initially Wild Hunt was intended to be the end of Geralt's story. That said, if they are returning to the franchise anytime, it doesn't seem like it'll be soon. Doug Cockle, who voices Geralt of Rivia, i.e. the eponymous Witcher in the games, has indicated at EGX via VG247 that as of right now, he has no knowledge whatsoever of The Witcher 4. "I know nothing about The Witcher 4, he said. "I know they're very much focusing on cyberpunk." He did tease that he might have a small part in that game, although he also made it very clear that there was no official movement on that front. "What I have discussed is the idea of me being involved somehow," he said. "Whether that's a major part or just an Easter egg, I hope so. I really enjoy working with them, but I haven't had significant contact. We've jokingly talked about it." There are multiple possibilities here. There is a chance that CD Projekt Red is working on The Witcher 4 and Cockle is involved, but that he's not being honest. Alternatively, CD Projekt Red could be all in on Cyberpunk for now, which means a new Witcher game would be years away. The final intriguing possibility is that The Witcher 4 won't star Geralt, and therefore Cockle. After all, CD Projekt Red did say that the Wild Hunt would be the end of Geralt's story, and they even set up an alternate protagonist to potentially take the reins from him in a future installment. No matter what it is that CD Projekt Red is doing, however, we have no doubt that it will end up being worth the wait. The Xbox One X will have system-wide super sampling, which we know will have benefits for even users on 1080p screens, because it will enhance visual quality. Now we have some more details on what kinds of visual benefits the super sampling will bring to the table for enhanced games. Xbox One enhanced games will get texture improvements, faster frame rates, and improved image quality, even if you're on a 1080p screen, as reported by The Verge. Unpatched games will get benefits from the Xbox One X and its feature set as well. These may include faster loading times, the most obvious one, as well as better frame rates and enhanced visual quality all around. More specific improvements will be contingent on the developer patching the game for Xbox One X support. It all certainly sounds like the Xbox One X will end up delivering more visual improvements than a PS4 Pro does. The Xbox One X is due out on November 7th, with pre-orders for the console now live. Arguably one of the most exciting upcoming games is Rare's Sea of Thieves, a brand new IP by the British studio, which is a shared world action-adventure game that casts players as pirates on the open seas. The game also looks like a graphical wonder, combining Rare's beautiful penchant for art with some sophisticated graphical techniques. As is the case with every upcoming Microsoft game, the title will be Xbox One X enhanced as well, and it took Rare just under a day to get the game's rendering up and running on the new superpowered console, as the studio's Craig Duncan confirmed to DualShockers in a recent interview. Rendering technologies for the Xbox One X are super exciting. I mean, we got it up and running in pretty much under a day, Duncan said. And then they continued to just work on refining, and so we have a version of the game we haven't shown off yet because of optimization. But if you look at the game, the water is beautiful, the real time of the day, the way the sun bounces off the water and the red skies, and things like HDR and 4K just make it look even more incredible. And I remain super confident in our rendering team's ability to make it look amazing. Of course, given how pretty the game looks, plus just how many other technologies it seems to be trailblazing, seamless cross-platform play, play anywhere, and a persistent shared world, it's clear that Rare has poured all of its immense talent into the title. Let's just hope the final game ends up living up to the immense expectations surrounding it. Following in the footsteps of the successful reimagining of the first Yakuza game with Yakuza Kiwami, Sega will now be working on delivering Yakuza Kiwami 2, a similar reimagining of the second game in the franchise, and where the series originally began, to come into its own. Today, Sega updated the official website for the game, sharing some more information about the title in the process. For instance, they titled the new chapter in the story The Truth of Majima Goro, establishing the conflict between Majima and the Omatsu family over a staggering 10 billion yen. In addition to detailing the new story chapter, Sega also shared some new details about the battle system, which continues its steady evolution in the series. You'll now be able to pocket certain weapons, which will let you use them at any time in battle, giving you more to work with rather than having to rely on environmental props. You'll also get a charge attack, which can land a lethal and devastating blow, as well as friendship heat actions, where people you have grown closer to may be able to assist you in fights. Additionally, Majima will have his own battle style as well, characterized by his Chimera dagger. Yakuza Kiwami 2 launches on December 7th in Japan exclusively on the PS4. A Western release has not yet been confirmed. I'm sure that PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is a fantastic title. You don't get to selling over 10 million copies, setting all manner of records, and winning rave acclaim from everybody if you aren't meeting a certain standard of quality after all. However, let's make some things very clear. A, this is an accumulative and iterative industry. Everybody builds upon ideas from other games and developers, and in fact, that's the only reason we've seen games advance as much as they have, because developers have taken things other games have done and tried to build on those things. And B, PUBG itself is a pretty blatant derivative of H1Z1 King of the Kill, and is in fact directed by one of the same folks who worked on that game. All of which is to say, of course other developers will try to follow in PUBG's wake. That kind of thing happens in the industry all the time. PUBG itself was the result of that kind of thing happening. Ergo, developer Bluehole Games have no real right or moral standing to go about calling other developers off for making games or modes in a similar vein. And yet, that's what they've gone and done. In a statement released today, the developer expressed its concerns and dissatisfaction at Epic making Fortnite's Battle Royale mode so similar to PUBG, and citing PUBG in its marketing. After listening to the growing feedback from our community and reviewing the gameplay for ourselves, we're concerned that Fortnite may be replicating the experience for which PUBG is known, the statement reads, citing the game's structure, gameplay loop, and UI elements as the areas of contention here. We've also noticed that Epic Games references PUBG in the promotion of Fortnite to their community, and in communications with the press. This was never discussed with us, and we don't feel that it's right. Epic does indeed cite H1Z1 King of the Kill and PUBG as inspirations for the Battle Royale mode, just as so many other developers cite games such as Skyrim, GTA, Far Cry, Zelda, Dark Souls, Monster Hunter, and Mario as their inspirations, and openly name-drop them when promoting their own games. This sort of thing happens all the time in the industry. Bluehole should be flattered that they have basically created a genre that others want in on. Instead, they're threatening legal action. The PUBG community has and continues to provide evidence of the many similarities as we contemplate further action. This is entirely ridiculous. Hopefully Bluehole comes to its senses on this one, because they're not going to find many backers on this one. That'll be it for this video. If you like what we're doing, please go ahead and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.